This is Sebastian for the Metal Gods Meltdown, and today I have the pleasure to be joined by
Nutgul from Devastator.
It's great to be chatting today. Your cover of Iron Fist is amazing. I must tell you, that was my first album I bought back in 1982. That's how old I am. What did it feel like paying tribute to Motörhead?
It's not exactly the first time we've done Motörhead sort of stuff. I mean, I think we've always been intrinsically connected to Motörhead in the way that our own material comes across. Really, to do the Iron Fist thing was a super last minute idea. Iron Fist had been in the set list, the live set list, for at least the last 2 years, I think. We'd started doing it in 2024 in the UK and then on the European tour as well. And it just became a logical part of our set list. So in the October, we decided to do. We just randomly decided at one of the rehearsals, shall we cover it and release it on his birthday? And that was it. For us, obviously, you know, we want to pay tribute to one of the biggest influences connected to Devastator, and you know, I think most people who know us and have seen us and have followed us for nearly the last 10 years. It makes sense. It's kind of like a marriage made in hell, really.
Yeah, man. Well, he would have turned 80 on release date. I mean, it's phenomenal that he lived as long as he did with the way he lived. You know what I mean? I'm paying the price now. It is a miracle, I guess, if you want to use that term, that he got as long in as he did. Still very sad that he's not around, but you know, his influence and his mark is left forever, and it's on everything in every aspect of metal today. Is intrinsically, you know, you can trace it back to Motörhead and you can trace it back to Lemmy. So yeah. I mean, you're a huge thrash band in the scene, and you're going out on tour with Struck a Nerve. Hopefully, I'm going to get you see you in Edinburgh. Hopefully, I'm like you. I work a lot. It's just fucking trying to get this thing. How psyched are you about this tour that you've got coming up?
Yeah, so it's the first dates of 2026. We're sort of entering a new era of Devastator now. We wanted to do something with Struck a Nerve anyway, because we were friends with them when some of the ex-members were in Shrapnel. We actually spent a lot of time during the COVID years, during the pandemic. We did things like this. We just chat and talk a lot. So when Struck a Nerve came together as its own band, with members who had left Shrapnel, left the scene, come back onto the scene, it was something exciting for, you know, a new thrash metal band and our friends getting back on the horse and playing music again. But then the sudden announcement that they were signed to the same label as us, which we knew nothing about until it was announced, was like, well, wow, we've got to do something with this. So it was in the pipeline, and then we pretty much confirmed it in person at Thrashchester that we were going to do that for us in Dev. We were going to do at least the first 4 dates of their tour. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it all to work because we had other things happening in the background, which, if you keep an eye on our socials, you'll see why. The schedule is getting very, very full now. So, but yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be really cool to go out and do a thrash metal tour, because we, you know, under our previous agency, we did a lot of stuff that was probably more rooted in black metal, and we were playing a lot of bills with a lot of modern black metal and some old school stuff as well. This time for this wave moving forward, we wanted to, you know, we've done a lot of that for the last few years. We actually haven't really done too many just straight up thrash metal bills, and we kind of feel like, you know, we sit in a strange little place where we appeal to both audiences. But we just kind of want to do a bit more thrash metal this year, and you know, still the old school black metal thing. But you know, we feel that we hadn't done a lot of it, so to do some dates with Struck a Nerve was is a no-brainer, really. You know, it's the same label. It's good friends. It's going to be cool. It's going to be really good, and they're great live as well. We watched them live for the first time at Frashchester before we went on, and they were killer. Yeah. It was like from album to stage, there was no there was no difference. It was like they played as it sounds on the record. So you know, they're tight as hell. Good friends, and yeah, it's going to be really cool, and everyone should come out to all the dates. I should probably list them.
Definitely.
It's all in mid-Feb. So from the 12th to the 15th, we're doing Norwich on the 12th, Edinburgh on the 13th, Newcastle on the 15th, Newcastle on the 14th, and then ending our run with them on the 15th in Manchester, I believe.
Cool. Well, I live by Newcastle, but I love Bannerman's, and hopefully I'll be working up in Scotland around that date, so I'll try hopefully get.
Yeah, it was the first time for us in Edinburgh as well. We wanted to go to Edinburgh. So.
Great venue, man. Love it. It's really cool. Okay, then. So, talking about Bannerman's, you've teamed up with Black Iris Brewery to create your own stout.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind the flavour and vibe of this beer?
Well, we it came from us playing Damnation Festival. The guys at Black Iris were at the festival. We obviously opened the festival on funnily enough, the Holy Goat Brewing stage, so a beer sponsored stage. And literally the next day, I think it was, we had got an email through saying, "Do you want to do this collaboration?" What band is going to say no? Like,
exactly.
Of course, we're going to say yes. So you know, we're beer drinkers in the band, so we explored avenues about what we could have and what we could do, and basically there were not really too many rules. So we went, okay, well we all agree. You know, we've got one guy in the band who's teetotal, the rest of us all drink. So for us three. We went, well, we all like dark beer, so let's do a stout. And then we asked for the brewery's advice about what kind of beer, what kind of stout, basically. And you know, we kind of like a winter warmer kind of beer, and that. And then it was the whole, well, what do you want to call it? You know, we got a lot of free reign to do what we want with it. So we we named it Devil's Curse after a line, the opening line of the song Black Witchery from Conjurers of Cruelty. And they've had some amazing artwork made by their guy called Kevin Gray, who does all of the Black Iris artwork. And yeah, it's been exciting. We got to go down to the brewery and watch the process of it being made, and really kind of get stuck in on how it all works and that. And we're really looking forward to it. We have a free release event happening here here in Derby. With one of our favourite pubs down here called the Furnace Brew Pub, or the Furnace Inn as it used to be called. And it's completely free. You know, it's not a live performance, but you know, the beer's going to be on sale before it comes out to the general public and other establishments, and where pubs can order it and put it on their beer lists. That's on the 31st of January, Saturday the 31st. And yeah, it's just going to be try the beer, drink the beer, hang out, come hang with the band, hang with the brewers. We're curating all the music that's going to get played in the background. But it's basically just going to be loads of NWOBHM and thrash metal and early black metal and a few dev tracks. You know, you've got to do it. But but yeah, no, it's been a really cool experience. You know, like we've said this recently, actually. You know, because we're nearly 10 years into this. And we said, I think the boys said in their interview with the Bloodstock people when we did the Winter Gathering, they said, and I agree, that if you had said that we were doing all these things like 5 years ago, 8 years ago, you know, when we were starting, we would have said, yeah, right, okay. So it's been really cool to have these sort of experiences and be able to try different things, and also, have the privilege to go out and tour Europe, to go and work with Bloodstock, to go work with breweries and release beer. So, we're not taking any of it for granted.
No.
But it's been a really cool experience for the Black Iris thing. Absolutely, yeah. And we're looking forward to it coming out. It's great. We hope everyone else enjoys it as well.
Devastator track to have a pint with, a pair with Devil's Track.
Oh, probably one of the fun ones. I wouldn't do it to one of the super slow or serious ones, unless unless you've got a heavy drink. But probably like Black Witchery or something like that. Black Witchery or Howling Night. some of the more rocking sort of songs. And whatever your tipple is, you can have whatever you want. But it's I'd probably say one of the more rocking songs. They're probably the best ones to have your drink with, especially Devil's Curse. Have Devil's Curse and listen to Black Witchery at the same time.
There we go. But I think it's so cool though that there's some good UK thrash metal bands coming through. I mean, I was a big fan of Onslaught. They're still going, of course. What influenced you and got you first into thrash metal, and how does it feel to see bands and you getting the attention, that you rightly deserve?
Well, for me personally, my introduction to thrash metal was more or less, I would say it was more or less Venom. And I still, even though I call them a black metal band, without Venom, you ultimately wouldn't have thrash metal as we know it, at least. It would probably be a lot less dark. I mean, I can't imagine Slayer in a world without Venom. You know what I mean? So so I'd probably say Venom, and then it became Slayer because I started to dive a little bit deeper. So when I got into Venom, I got into the first Slayer album. So I'd probably be like Venom and Slayer. But every member of the band is different to how they discovered it. Like the drummer's favorite band is Metallica, so there's that. One of our guitarists, who's the elder statesman of the band, he was listening to thrash metal back in the early 90s, I guess, when he was getting into music and metal. But for me, it was probably Venom and Slayer. And in terms of seeing it having, again, I guess you would call it a second resurgence, because it did have a resurgence in the 2010s, where the sort of late 2000s and into the 2010s with Toxic Holocaust and Municipal Waste and Skeleton Witch and stuff like that. To see it now, I think it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool thrash metal out there, and I think the thrash metal that really kind of stands out is the thrash metal that is pulling something else in.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't want to sit there and say things are easy, but it's all well and good to make thrash metal that sounds like 1986 US thrash. Yeah. But the stuff that really at least for me, the stuff that really gets me kind of going is the stuff that plays a bit more to the German side, to make it darker, because the Germans were always better at it. They all, they basically took what Slayer did and just went, now let's make it even more evil. Let's make it even more dirty. We can't play our instruments. Fuck it. It's fine. So, I think that's, that lends to why a band like Hell Ripper is doing so well.
I fucking love Hell Ripper. They're fantastic, aren't they?
Exactly, they're great. They're amazing. Yeah. The boys are good friends of ours. We've played with them multiple times and seen them just as many times as well. And James goes from strength to strength every album, but he's always, I've had conversations with him about this, about where do you move between the line of just doing kind of black thrash and black speed, and then starting to introduce more contemporary aspects of black metal into your music. Yeah. And it basically, it's as we did on our second album, we started to do the same thing, because you can remake your first album, which is just black speed and black punk and black thrash, over and over again before it becomes a sort of a parody of itself. So the thrash metal that works is to me always the stuff that introduces black metal or death metal or even grind, and doesn't just want to be the archetypal sounding like the first few Metallica albums all the time. Like it's better when it has that little bit of extra stuff, and there's a lot of bands right now doing that. Like I said, with the aforementioned Hellripper, and I think that's what lends to its success, and it keeps it fresh in a way. So yeah, it's great to see. The UK scene is doing really well as well. Like considering that the UK, you mentioned Onslaught. I always used to think that when you look down the timeline, the UK was just a little bit late in the grand scheme of thrash, because when the UK thrash started getting big, death metal was taking over, and ultimately I feel like the UK scene sort of missed the boat. But now, we have the old guard back in, like Zentrix and Onslaught, and Acid Rain still going.
Back, man, honestly.
Slammer came back for a little bit, but then I don't know what happened. But the Slammer came back for a little bit. Virus is still going in some capacity. And then there's all this other stuff coming out from the UK. I think it's never been a better time to be into UK thrash metal, because there's so much of it now, and there's so many bands doing different things. So it's great to see. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Cool. But Listenable, a fantastic label, aren't they? How are you doing with them? Are they giving good support and everything?
Yeah, they've been great. They've been really good for the reissue of the first album and the release of the second. They've been very supportive, very helpful. When we did our first European tour in 2024, they came to the first show, which was in France.
Right.
And they're very excited. When they come to shows in person, they're extremely enthusiastic, extremely excited. They're very professional, very wonderful people. It's only a small team that works for them as well, but they get so much done, and they have so much reach and legacy as a label with such a small team. But the enthusiasm that comes from a label, even a label that that old, because it isn't a young label, they're still enthusiastic about metal. They're very enthusiastic about UK metal. And they do a great deal of support. So we're very, very happy with them. And we should have a third release with them tentatively for this year. Right. We're just still working out some of the details of things, but it's written. It's just get a fire in the starting gun and getting it done. But we're really, really happy with them. And we're hoping for a fair few more successful years of them.
Amazing. So, what about touring around England? Is there any festival dates that stand out for you over the years?
Yeah, we're doing a few. I was looking at the schedule again today, and it's not even half of it's announced.
Right, okay.
So it's the ones that are announced I can't talk about. Like we're doing Cosmic Vibration Festival in Sheffield, which will be the first time we've been playing Sheffield since 2019, I think. Yeah. I think something along those lines, or maybe 2018. But right. It's a while, and we've always been trying to go back, and then there's always been something getting involved, whether it be COVID or cancellations or whatever. So we're finally going back, and we're playing on a really cool festival lineup. I talked about not doing as much black metal shows, but we are doing a black metal festival this year.
We're
doing the Cosmic Void Festival in London, which is headlined by Hellhammer, Bloodbath, and Moonspell, and Sarcophago's playing as well, which is like fucking hell. It's going to be a really, really cool, really cool weekend. That. We're playing. Well, it's not the UK, but we're doing Slovakia for the first time. We're playing a thrash metal festival.
Okay.
We're headlining as well, so it's in Propad or Porprad. I'm probably butchered that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
But we're doing a lot of a lot of UK one-offs as opposed to touring. Yeah. So the Struck a Nerve stuff we're touring. in a small capacity, a mini tour if you like. But we're doing a lot of one-offs, which involve a lot of kind of stellar lineups where we've been able to make it work amongst European opportunities that have come through. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, we've been self-booking for the last 6 months. And the idea was to see how far we could get with self-booking whilst we're in discussions to get a new agent. Right. And when we're in discussions now with new agencies for both Europe, UK, and rest of the world. But we just wanted to see how far we could go going back to self-booking. And so far it's been quite successful because we've got a full calendar year. So, but yeah, there's more to be announced. But we're doing a fair bit. Once it's all out there, you can go check out our Linktree as well, Linktree/Devastator UK, and that'll have our list of announced shows and where to get the tickets for them as well. We're doing a lot. We're doing Brighton for the first time, Doomsday Festival. That's headlined by Sakis from Rotting Christ.
Right. Okay.
So that'll be cool. We're doing kind of like sort of one-offs. But there's some good ones. There's still some more to announce. So keep an eye on the socials. Plenty more to come out.
Hey everyone, it's Eric Gans from Charlotte. Tune in to the inimitable Seb Di Gatto for Seb 666. It rocks.
Your favourite 6 albums or 6 albums that come to mind. And then, yeah, I know, man. I should have really told Steffi I was going to do this, but I like to be mean, man. I like to be mean. And then I'm going to do your 6 favourite songs, and that could be anything.
Oh, fucking hell.
Then it's going to be a random 6.
Okay. Yeah? Right.
I'll just lay it on you, man. I'll lay it on you. I'll count them down. Go for it. Your 6 favourite albums of all time.
In no particular order?
No particular order, yeah.
Okay. Black metal, Venom black metal. Motörhead Iron Fist. Slayer Show No Mercy. Oh, I'm halfway through them already. Damn it. Bathory Bathory The Return, if I have to pick. Hellhammer Apocalyptic Raids. And Celtic Frost. Morbid Tales.
Cool. See, I cheat because I've got all my CDs here. When musicians try and turn it around on me, I just...
Mine's behind me, though.
Fucking easy, man. It's easy.
Mine's behind me. I don't want to keep turning around and going like this.
You could have. All right, then. So what are your 6 favourite songs of all time? In no particular order. Sorry. Oh, we can change that. We can change it. Let's do it this way. Give us your 3 favourite songs of all time and 3 musicians you'd love to do a jam session with.
Okay. Songs. Okay. So I'll just pick 3 at random.
Exactly.
Motörhead Iron Fist.
Of course.
Venom Leave Me in Hell. Onslaught Power from Hell.
Oh,
and 3 musicians, alive or dead, I assume.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I meant to say that.
Hell, this is easy then. Lemmy.
Yeah.
Tom Angel Ripper. And Kronos.
Oh, cool. All right, and so your final 6, right? So what was the first metal gig that changed your life?
Motörhead, Motorizer Tour, Hammersmith, 2008.
Class. You prefer writing riffs sober or writing riffs possessed?
Writing riffs sober or writing riffs possessed?
Yeah.
I guess it's possessed then.
All right, or pissed. Basically, I was just trying to be clever.
Oh right, well, it
can be clever. I was trying to be clever.
Either or. I've used stuff from both. So
yeah. You always have the best ideas when you're pissed. Wake up.
Yeah. Shame he can't play.
Yeah. All right, man. So, if there was a totally made up song about your personality, what would it be called?
Shut the fuck up.
Us. Do you prefer a dive bar or festivals?
Oh, what to play?
Yeah. Or what either.
I mean, they're both great because festivals, especially outdoor ones, they're very few. There can be very few far in between. When you get the opportunity to do it. I love doing those, especially if it's out like proper outdoors. Man, I have to say both for different reasons. Like I can't pick one of them.
All right. So then, if you were an instrument, what would you be?
A washing board. I don't know.
Okay.
Something useless.
Okay. Do you prefer a leather jacket or a battle jacket?
Leather jacket. Iron
Yeah.
code.
Yeah, cool.
What's the context?
At the end of night, I mean, like when you're on stage.
What? Oh, what to play or to have one more drink? Well,
Yeah,
if we're going to play one more song, that means I probably have time to have one more drink just before it. So,
depending where you're playing, yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words for your fans, our viewers, and listeners?
Well, thank you for inviting me on first, and thank you all for your support. And still, those of you who are still listening, nearly 10 years in, thank you very much. We'll be out on the road 2026 all year in some capacity. So thank you very much.